ethnicity is at once public and deeply personal. We can signal and celebrate our ethnicity with clothes, language, music, art, festivals, and celebrations, and we can feel it in our taste buds. From holiday feasts to comfort foods, our ethnic identities influence what we cook and eat, what we think is delicious, what aromas fill our homes. The food we grew up with and enjoy can elicit a host of positive associations. While our ethnicity may determine the food we eat, the idea of ethnic food is a bit more troubled, evoking notions of exclusion, minoritization, and marginalization.
Here is a loaf of Italian bread in an East Coast supermarket chain. It's in aisle 12, the bread aisle, surrounded by other types of bread. So if Italian bread exists in the bread aisle, why do Chinese noodles exist here in the international aisle? These crunchy Chinese noodles or crispy wonton strips are typically served as an appetizer or snack in American Chinese restaurants. So why aren't they in, say, the chip aisle? It doesn't seem to make much sense. So is there some hidden racism in your supermarket? It's a question David Chang asked in his podcast last year.
If you go to the ethnic food aisle, that is sort of the last bastion of racism that you can see in like full daylight in retail America. How do we help kill the very notion of what is the ethnic food aisle, and why does it even exist anymore?
To Chang, the foods in the ethnic aisle are accepted parts of American cuisine, yet they are still sectioned off and labeled as something else, something not quite fully American. In fact, the great irony of those Chinese noodles we mentioned earlier is that they're actually an American thing. You'd have a pretty difficult time finding them in China. And take sriracha, for example. A few years ago, you would have most likely found the sauce from Thailand exclusively in the ethnic food aisle. But as the sauce has grown in popularity in the US, it's now here, right next to hot sauce. Chang isn't the only one who feels this way. Kim Pham experienced this growing up as well.
Who gets to choose, like, what is ethnic, right? And why have some cuisines and communities been able to transcend that aisle? So like Italian food has largely left that. I would say Greek food, it has largely left that. And so you can almost tie, frankly, colorism to how, what cuisines are considered ethnic.
When Italian food moved from the ethnic aisle, Moroccan, Middle Eastern, Indian, and many other foods were left behind. This created the theme of white American foods as mainstream, and everything else as different, strange, or non-white. So if proximity to whiteness is what gets you out of the ethnic food aisle, it's no wonder Chang and Pham feel alienated.
When you actually think about its origins, it's literally centered around kind of white Americana as the default, right? And makes sense then, but now it's 2020. We're changing American society and changing American diet, but this continued existence of this aisle, which largely has not changed, just continues to other POC communities. And now as an adult, I understand that. I can put words to those feelings of shame and feeling different and othered.
Colorism, that is, discrimination against darker skin tones or against cultures and ethnicities that are deemed further away from whiteness, goes far beyond food. Colorism hasn't just historically constructed white America's ideas of who counts as an ethnic other, not yet integrated into the mainstream. It has also shaped ideas of beauty and even acceptability within certain ethnic groups. While ideals of beauty can be oppressive to all women, some groups with histories and lived experience of colonization and domination may favor aspects of appearances that seem more white. Lighter skin tone, certain body shapes or sizes, and certain hair colors, styles, and textures may be seen as more feminine or beautiful.
What do you think of when you see Zendaya, Rihanna, Beyonce? Be honest. Is it the same thing you see when you look at Whoopi Goldberg, Viola Davis, or Leslie Jones? Historically, blackness has been associated with negativity, ugliness, dirtiness, stupidity, and undesirability. During slavery, the racial caste system was on full display. Darker-skinned slaves were relegated to the fields to pick cotton, tobacco, and slash sugar canes. The mulattoes, many of whom were byproducts of rape, were allowed to work inside plantation homes, tending to the needs of the masters and their children. Naturally, this preferential treatment created a division, and the vestiges remain. And if you think colorism only exists in the Black community, you're wrong. It stretched its tentacles into many communities, including the Hispanic, Caribbean, Latin American, and South and East Asian communities.
How about girls? Definitely fair. Everybody wants a fair girl.
Obviously fair and beautiful. That's the only thing that matters, to be very specific. If I talk about marriage.
These preferences may come from internalized racism, a beauty industry and media environment historically dominated by Caucasian women and racist rules and policies.
It's something that I don't usually talk about because I'm afraid that I'm making people uncomfortable. It's something that affects me in almost every aspect of life.
There's something about having dark skin on a woman's body that shapes the way she moves through the world. There's something about having darker skin on a male body that shapes the way in which he moves through the world. It has real life stakes.
From what I've seen growing up, dark skin equates to being poor, dirty,
ratchet.
They tend to be the bad guys in Tyler Perry movies.
Straight from the border.
That doesn't even make any sense. I'm not deemed as beautiful, therefore I am not beautiful. And those two are not really mutually exclusive.
In the Dominican society and our culture, they have a phrase that's like mejorando la raza, advancing the Dominican population and making sure we're going into how they say the better. If you're lighter, you're bettering the race and you're bettering the island versus if you're just being you.
I would get called the blackness. One joke that really stuck with me was like, oh, Edgar's so black that when he leaves a car, the check engine light turns on. That was a reference to my skin being as dark as oil. I felt ugly being of a darker skin tone. So I tried to gel my hair, or I started listening to skater punk music. So I tried culturally to lighten myself, if that makes sense.
I went on a trip to Korea with my mom. Some woman walked up to my mom and she asked, "Why is your daughter so dark?" In Korea, you have to be pale, and I almost felt like a foreigner and not so much Korean anymore.
I think change starts with providing more diversity, providing more examples of people that look like you.
If you look at telenovelas, they usually cast the dark-skinned person as the villain. And if you never met a Latino before, you're gonna somewhat think that.
So in Japanese media, I honestly don't think I've ever seen a darker-skinned female. I feel it would be nice to see a change.
How do we fix this? We think critically about colorism. We think about where it began and where it begins and ends with us.
Today, more and more women are reclaiming and redefining what feels authentic and fabulous to them, and the media landscape is becoming more representative of all kinds of beauty. Race and ethnicity are cultural constructions that have been manipulated to maintain power for some. They're also powerful concepts that help us address shared biological traits and the social experiences that are central to our lives. The constructions and concepts behind race and ethnicity become tangible through lived experience of celebration and marginalization.
How do you identify your race and ethnicity? How do you see these two aspects of yourself overlapping? And what is their significance in your life? How do your racial and ethnic identities inform and interact with other aspects of your identity?
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to dive deeper into the anthropology of race and ethnicity, check out the resources below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get your regular dose of anthrodorphins.